It was a rainy afternoon in a small town. The sky was gray, and the streets were quiet except for the soft sound of raindrops falling on the rooftops. Inside a small coffee shop near the train station, a young woman named Emma sat by the window, watching the rain. She came there often, not because of the coffee, but because she liked the silence. It was the only place where she could think. Emma worked in an office. Her days were all the same: meetings, emails, deadlines. She often felt like life was moving, but she wasn't. And today, she felt that even more. She looked at her reflection in the window and whispered, "Is this really all there is?" As she stirred her coffee, a man walked into the shop. He was holding a wet umbrella and wearing a dark blue jacket. He looked around, saw that the place was almost full, and walked toward Emma's table. "Excuse me," he said with a polite smile. "Would you mind if I sit here? Every other seat seems taken." Emma looked up. For a second, she hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, go ahead." He sat down and placed his coffee on the table. "Thanks. I didn't expect so many people to be hiding from the rain today." Emma smiled slightly. "Yeah, it's like everyone suddenly decided to fall in love with coffee." They both laughed softly. The man introduced himself as Daniel. He was new in town, working as a freelance photographer. He said he liked capturing quiet moments, like people waiting at bus stops or someone lost in thought by a window. Emma listened carefully. His voice was calm, his words simple but meaningful. It was strange. She usually didn't talk to strangers, but something about Daniel felt safe. They talked about the rain, their work, their favorite books. Hours seemed to pass like minutes. When the rain finally stopped, Daniel looked outside and said, "It's funny. I came in here to escape the rain, but I think I found something better." Emma looked at him, surprised. "What do you mean?" He smiled. "A reason to stay." That sentence echoed in her mind long after he left. It was simple, but it stirred something inside her, something she hadn't felt in a long time. That night, she couldn't sleep. The sound of rain still played in her head, along with his words. A reason to stay. She realized how long it had been since she'd truly listened to someone or even to herself. And for the first time in years, she felt curious. The next morning, Emma walked into the same coffee shop again. The rain had stopped, but she still felt that quiet comfort in the air. She sat at the same table, hoping, though she wouldn't admit it, that he might come back. The door opened, and there he was. When Daniel walked in, the bell above the coffee shop door rang softly. He looked around and smiled when he saw Emma sitting at the same table. "I was hoping you'd be here," he said, walking over. Emma tried to hide her smile. "Were you? Or do you just really like the coffee here?" He laughed. "Maybe both." They ordered again, 2 cappuccinos, no sugar. The same order as the day before. It was strange how easy it felt. No awkward pauses, no small talk, just real conversation, honest, warm, simple. Daniel told her about the places he'd traveled to, small towns, quiet villages, mountain roads where time seemed to stop. He said he liked how each place had a different rhythm, a different story. Emma listened, fascinated. She told him that she'd always wanted to travel, but something always stopped her. Work, routine, fear. Daniel looked at her and said gently, "Maybe it's not that you can't go. Maybe you just forgot that you can." Those words hit her like a soft wave. Not painful, but deep. Outside, the sun was breaking through the clouds. The wet streets were shining, and people were starting to come out again. Emma noticed the light dancing on Daniel's face. She thought, maybe the rain brought him here for a reason. They sat there for a while, saying nothing, just watching the street. Then Daniel took a small notebook from his bag. "I usually write something after every rain," he said. "Something I want to remember." He looked at her and smiled. "Mind if I write about today?" Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Go ahead," she said softly. He wrote for a few moments, then tore a page from the notebook and folded it. "Here, for you." Emma took it, but didn't open it yet. "Should I read it now?" Daniel shook his head. "No, read it when it rains again." And just like that, he stood up. "I'll see you around," he said, and walked out into the street. Emma sat there, holding that small folded note, feeling something between sadness and peace. She didn't know if she would see him again, but it didn't feel like goodbye. Days passed, then weeks. Daniel didn't come back to the coffee shop, but every time it rained, Emma thought of him. His calm voice, his easy smile, his words that seemed to stay even after he was gone. One afternoon, it finally rained again. Emma went back to that same seat by the window. The smell of coffee filled the air, and the sound of raindrops made everything feel quiet again. She took out the folded note from her wallet. Her hands trembled a little as she opened it. Inside, there was a short message, written in Daniel's careful handwriting. "Don't wait for the perfect moment. The moment becomes perfect when you decide to live it." Emma read it twice, then smiled through tears. It was simple, but it changed everything. The next day, she quit her job. She didn't have a plan, but she had something better: courage. A month later, a photo appeared online, taken by a freelance photographer. It showed a woman sitting by a window, smiling, watching the rain. The caption read, "A new beginning." Emma didn't know who took it, but she didn't have to. She just whispered, "Thank you, Daniel." And for the first time, she didn't feel stuck anymore. She felt alive.